All right, looks like we got most of our attendees in, and hopefully the rest will just join. And so let's get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are excited to be here and be talking about this topic. This is our second webinar we've done on mobile gaming. The first one was on latency for mobile gaming, and today we are excited to be talking about revenue tracking for mobile gaming. This is a topic that we could talk about for hours. It's one of our favorite topics here at Metricfire, and so we are excited to have this webinar today. You have myself, I'm Nathan, I'm an account executive here at Metricfire, and with me today is Parker, one of our support engineers. Go ahead and say hi, Parker.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Parker. So let's go over what our agenda will be today. First, we'll be talking about why revenue tracking. Why is it important? And then what should I be tracking? And then Parker will be taking us through a live demo. We're excited about that. And then we will finish with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, you'll have time to answer or ask them at the end. All right, let's get started. So first, why revenue tracking? Why do you need to track revenue? You probably already have a accounting system doing that. So why do I need to monitor for it also? So there's a couple of reasons, there are a couple of answers to that question. Is first, you need to identify where revenue is coming from. Because even though you might have an accounting system that is already kind of tracking revenue, as developers and engineers, we need to be able to intersect the business metrics with the system and application metrics and bring them together and understand them as a whole. Because if not, you'll be feeling like Charlie over here in the right in this picture, pretty stressed out, trying to unlock and solve the mystery of where your revenue is coming from, how to increase it, how to optimize it. And so if you're monitoring for it, tracking for it, you're able to identify where your revenue is coming from, by channel, user, feature, game, whatever it might be. And once you identify where it's coming from, you're able to plan a little better for this revenue for your future developments. And so say if if this feature is working better, if how your last deployment affected your revenue, you can start planning and optimizing. And if you're just looking at revenue in a big picture, you're gonna have to go through the mystery like Charlie over here on the right and figure out how to do it. And you'll be kind of throwing things against the wall, hoping they will stick. And so tracking for it allows you to really optimize your revenue. And then besides that, you're able to know if something's going on. Like I was talking before about merging the business metrics and application system metrics. If revenue is down a lot, you'll know something's up. You can start checking your server requests, checking whatever it might be to go in and fix the issue. And so that is a quick overview of why tracking for revenue is important. So let's go over what should I be monitoring? What should I be tracking when I be doing this? Now this list, of course, is not exhaustive by any measure. This is just some examples of what you can monitor and track for when you're looking at revenue. The real list would be 4 or 5 slides long. And so what we want to do is more just show you that when you track for revenue, it's important to go as detailed and granular as possible, because each of your games, your mobile game setup, is going to be a little different. So the important part is to get as specific and detailed as possible. You want to know how a feature is affecting revenue. You want to know how your last deployment affected revenue, things like that. And being able to customize it is what the important part of tracking for revenue is all about. And we would love, if you have questions about this, we'd love to talk to you more about this, about your own individual situation and how and what you should be monitoring for. And so now that we talked about, why you should be tracking revenue and what you should be monitoring, we're going to kick over to Parker, and he's going to go through that live demo for us.
All right, thanks, Nathan. So if you were with us for our last webinar a couple weeks ago, you'll know that I kind of went over how to get metrics into your hosted Graphite account or Metricfire. So we're just going to quickly go over that real quick. So we have something called the Hosted Graphite Agent, and this is just a simple way to get your metrics into your account. This is a quick and secure way, and this is unique to Hosted Graphite. So you won't be getting this with your open source Graphite solution, but we do also support Prometheus, though we are going to be sticking to our Graphite solution today. We also allow custom metrics to be sent programmatically. So you can send these custom metrics over TCP, UDP, HTTPS, Pickle, and these all come in a different range of languages. So a short example would be like Python, Ruby, Shell, Java, Go, JavaScript. And below you'll see just a quick snippet of a Python way to send metrics over TCP. And our documentation will give a full rundown of how to do all this as well. All right, and then perfect, okay. So we're also going to touch on alerts for revenue tracking as well. So we do alert on ingestion, which means our alerts are much faster. We don't wait for the back end of our system to run the data and store it and then compare the different alerts to different conditions. We do that right on the front end, so you get your alerts much quicker. And by creating these alerts on revenue tracking data, this allows your team to monitor the purchasing behavior of your customers. So if you see a spike in, let's say, purchases for one game right after you release a new update, you're able to quickly see that as well as make decisions for the future. And so now I'm going to switch over to a live demo. And perfect. All right, can you see this, Nathan?
Yes, that's great.
Okay, perfect. So this is an example of a dashboard you might set up in our Grafana. So here you'll see we have different visualization options, each showing you either a snapshot or a history of what you're looking at. So we'll go into this one real quick. So in here, you'll see this is very similar to any other Grafana you've used. And with this, you're able to use all the Graphite functions. So here we are looking at percents. So let's say you have two different, or in this case, two different regions where you're getting your revenue data from. If you want to see at a certain time what region is more responsible for your revenue, this is a quick and easy way to do that. So we'll see here. This was about 10 minutes ago. You'll see that 55% is coming from the AWS East region, where 45 is only coming from the West region. And you can compare that to other data points. So here, West is at 68, East at 32, and so on. This is all very customizable as well. So if you want to look at lines versus bars or a complete different visualization, we offer that as well. And of course here, change the name. This is the alerting feature. We'll get to that a little bit more. And then, like Nathan mentioned earlier, if you want to look at a couple different revenue options, so if you want to see what your total revenue is, or maybe your revenue per session, or like in this case, the percent of total revenue and where it's coming from, you can do that all very easily using Hosted Graphite. This is a snapshot of kind of what your current values look like. So this is a quick way to see what you're currently looking at, as well as giving you a history. And overall, this is just a simple way to see where your money's coming from, what's impacting that, and what you can expect in the future. And now we're going to go over to the alerting side of things. So this is the Hosted Graphite alerting page, which is a little bit different than the Grafana alerts that you may be used to. So we're going to take a look at one of our alerts. So this alert has actually been triggered, so it's in an alerting state. And this will just give you a quick overview of what your metrics are looking like, when they got alerted on, when the state changed from alerting to not alerting, all of that. And you can go in here. Oops, sorry about that. You can go in here to edit your alert. So name, whatever your metric is, quick description, as well as going through here, you can change all your criteria as well. So in this case, if anything's below 30, if you're looking at revenue, I'm sure it's much higher than 30. This is just an example real quick. But we also have different notification channels. So this is sending an email to our demo account, but we have a wide range of notification options, whether that's PagerDuty, Slack, webhooks, VictorOps, OpsGenie, any of that. So that one's this. And then we also allow you to alert on different functions as well. So if you want to see what your total revenue is for a time period, an integral function would be perfect for that. And you are able to alert on that as well. As you can see here, all Graphite functions work in our alerts. And with that, we'll send it back to Nathan. That was just a quick little overview of what we were doing or what we were talking about earlier. So let's go back to Nathan.
Thank you. All right, let's pull up slides. All right. Well, thank you, Parker. That was great. And we'd just like to finish today's webinar with a little overview of one of our customers, Hype Games. They're a great mobile gaming company. They've actually just released a new golf game that's fun. You should go check it out in the App Store. It's a great time. So as far as revenue tracking, Hype Games, they had an issue that needed to be solved. In the beginning, they were just sending their data points over to monitor the revenue, but they were just monitoring a big picture of their revenue. And they weren't really able to dive in and get granular and figure out what was affecting revenue. And without being able to really get granular, they were effectively in the dark. They didn't know what was increasing revenue, what features were, what their latest deployments were doing to the revenue. And so they needed a way to be able to dive down and get detailed and see really what was happening with their revenue. And so what they did was to solve this issue is they figure out what custom metrics they need to monitor to understand the revenue better and more granular level. And so they worked overtime and they worked to set up these custom metrics to track specific data points related to the revenue. And then they display these data points in correlation to other metrics or events. And this allowed Hype Games to see the exact day and exact time revenue is being received, enabling them to correlate changes in revenue with deployments, features, errors, etc. So once they were able to do that, they were able to clearly see which events, changes, deployments affect the revenue, enabling to plan and optimize their game in the future and optimize the revenue going forward. And so that, of course, is just a quick overview of them. We have a full case study of them on our website at metricfire.com. Feel free to hop over and check out that full case study, or just reach out to us if you have any questions about it. Now, if you saw anything today or heard anything on the webinar that seemed like it might be a good fit for you and your team, or if you just have questions about how to set up revenue tracking in your organization for your mobile game, we would love to talk to you. A no pressure consult. You can reach out to me at nathan@metricfire.com. Here is my phone number. All right. And of course, you can go onto metricfire.com and look at our great blog articles. And also on there, there is a button that you can request a demo at your most convenient time. And so with that, we would like to finish with some questions. So we will give everyone a few moments for them to write their question out, and then we will pick a couple out and answer them. All right. See people type in. All right, here's our the first question come in. Okay, I'll take this one. So the first question that come in is how do you solve user management in Grafana? Okay, and so it seems like this question is asking if you've ever used open source Grafana, you've probably realized that there's no easy way to do user management. And so if you have a big team and you want some people to have read-only access to only a particular dashboard, whatever it might be, it's very difficult to do that in open source Grafana. And what we've done here at Metricfire is we've gone in and customized that. You know, that was one of the first things we solved because that is a huge pain point for a lot of our customers. You know, they have these big teams and they want to divvy up that user access in different ways. And so at Metricfire, when you come on board with us, you get that with any package. You're able to have a team management. And so if you can have admin accounts, read only. So even if you want to share it with a client, or you want them to see only one particular dashboard, you're able to do that with us. And so I hope that answers that question. Let's see, I should have some more questions. Parker, you want to take this next one?
Sure. Okay. Okay, perfect. So the question is Metricfire or hosted Graphite more useful for looking at trends or keeping accounting records? Okay, so this is actually a good point. So a lot of people we've seen who use us for accounting or revenue tracking, they at times will try to use the system as a way to keep detailed accounting records. We would not recommend doing that because we do roll up some of our data. So if you're looking at a trend, that's perfect. But if you're trying to see down to the penny how much money you're taking in, it just really isn't designed for that. The trends and looking at what causes changes in behavior, that is where we really exceed expectations. But when it comes to actual accounting, that one is just not as useful when looking at our system because we don't dive super finely into each data point, we roll it up. So, I mean, based off the question, I would say definitely more useful for looking at trends.
Great, thank you, Parker. That's a great answer. It looks like we are all out of time now, but if you have more questions, if you have anything, whether about revenue tracking, about our platform, whatever it might be, please feel free to reach out to us. Once again, my email, I'll go back to it, is nathan@metricfire.com. And you can also reach out to Parker. His is just simply parker@metricfire.com. And check out our website, metricfire.com also. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. We are, once again, thankful that you guys joined us today. It's a really fun topic, and we should have future webinars coming out, so stay tuned about that. We'll keep you informed, and we will hopefully see you soon. Thank you again, and have a good rest of your day.